Yeah, please.
Because putting it on Parlour will get it some attention.
Yeah, no, quite right. I joined Parlour too. Right, we should be streaming on a whole bunch of places. I don't know. Let's have a look. Just make sure we're starting in 6-7 minutes time, people. Just wanted to make sure that we were going out, and yeah, looks like we are. Amazing. Right. Do you have audio, good people? Can you hear us? Because I've got a new system, and I've got no idea if it works. Really, I'm trying to fine tune it. There's a few.
1 second, I'm just going to check my phone.
Bits and bobs. Yeah. So anyway, right. Let us know in the comments. God bless you. We're coming up in 6-7 minutes time, something like that, and. Yeah, right. Daily Chaos. Oh, that didn't work, did it? Yeah, if you're watching an archive version. Oh, yeah. Oh, blimey. Oh, dear. That's an ominous start, Boosey. Right. If you're watching an archive version, you might want to fast forward. Copyright free, Cleggy.
Like the seasons, I'm on repeat. It's a long way down. Trying not to follow suit. Don't like the color, I'll change the shade of it. I'm not afraid of it. I know I'm holding on to this. Holding on. I know I'm holding on to this. Holding on. Don't let me repeat it. Don't let me repeat it.
Boosey, can you see the chat thing on Zoom?
Yeah.
Good. I'm going to send you a link. Have a look at it. Yeah.
Fast forward a year or two. Friends have changed, but so can you. So can you. For too long about the mistakes. While I resent, I learn to hate. Forgot your name. Holding on to this. Holding on. I know
Thank you, Sammy and Susan. Good to hear where, you can hear us. Got old Rodders popping in as well.
Don't let me repeat it.
And Jay, I think, I hope. In about 2.5 minutes. And in case you were wondering, I do apologise for the confusion tonight. We have changed the time of the show by mutual consent. It's now 9 p.m. GMT, BST, UK time, basically. That's for about, I don't know, 4 o'clock in the afternoon in DC. Monday to Thursday. Yeah, Monday to Thursday. Yeah, there you go. So it's 2 hours later than it used to be.
1 p.m. in California.
1 p.m. in California. Thanks, Chris. Thank you. 2 minutes, people. Yeah. Oh, hold on. What's going on there? I did mean to kind of let everybody know. It's difficult letting people know about the new time on YouTube. It's a bit easier on Facebook and stuff because you can just send out a thing. I didn't have the camera ready to do a thing earlier. Anyway, 2 hours later in future. So 9 GMT or BST rather, UK time, and whatever the equivalent is wherever you are. Yeah. Oh no! Oh, I don't know how to stop that countdown now. I'm not going to be able to stop the countdown. Oh no! Hold on. Maybe just a little bit. Yay! All right. Evening all. Evening all. Good afternoon. Good morning. Good people. Welcome to the daily, probably out of focus. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Daily chaos. I'm Olly Connelly. Thanks for turning up. And now, trumped. It should have a question mark. I hope it's got a question mark. What if Trump loses in November? What if he loses? What if he loses in November? What if Trump loses in November? That was a pregnant pause, Chris. We got Boosey here, Chris Boosey, stateside stringer over in California, going to tell us about his gun-toting, trying to keep the mobs back from his doorstep. What is going on? What is going on all around the planet, in the UK, at least France, everywhere, pretty much. Well, I don't know. Oh, abject madness. Right, so we got all that, and going to be talking about that. Oh, blimey. So, good evening, Chris Boosey. Sir, how are you?
I'm all right. It's one of those rare days in Southern California where it's grey, gloomy, and rainy.
Right. Yeah. Well, that must be a relief for a change. Have a bit of rain, no?
The humidity's not great.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, fine. Right. So in California, have you is it total implosion yet? I heard that Beverly Hills was getting a bit of a dosage of BLM the other day.
Couldn't happen to nicer people. Basically, all these Hollywood celebrities that live in Beverly Hills and make a big song of how they stand in solidarity with the hard left, and then the hard left comes a knocking on their door in violent ways, and they have to call those racist, evil cops to come and protect them.
How big a deal was it? I mean, I saw some video, but I couldn't really tell how many people were marching.
It seems to be that there's not. There tends to be. They're tending to be in quite reasonable sized numbers, dangerous sized numbers, I would say. And bear in mind, this is less than a week after these actors have been making demands that cops are removed from sets and filming locations and such like that. But when,
really? They're saying they don't want any cops on location.
They don't want the cops. They're on location, say in LA, filming something, but they don't want the cops around keeping the traffic, stopping the traffic that's not supposed to be coming through and all this. Okay, so
how do they shoot a movie?
Big lorry. You've got say Reese Witherspoon doing her acting in the middle of the street. Hit by a lorry.
Blimey.
It's complete insanity. And what are they going to do about all those crazy stalkers that might come and try and get into their dressing rooms if they haven't got cops that will actually be able to keep an eye out? Because that's not the job of security, and security can't really do that level of protection, really. Not without. Well, there's not enough security professionals with the skills to do that.
Well, also, I mean, do they actually have any right to stop the traffic? Shouldn't that be cops that do that kind of thing?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Cops are supposed. Yeah, but that's the thing. Cops are the ones that have the authority. You have to, and even the standard cop doesn't get the training. You actually, out here, they have kind of like a wheel symbol that's sewn on their uniform, and that means that they've been trained in the marshalling of traffic, and they can actually direct traffic, which is so because otherwise, if you misdirect traffic, people are going to have an accident. So you're not allowed to do it without having done this course.
Right.
So,
yeah.
And that's not offered to civilians. So what's going to happen?
Yeah, it's curious.
We're just going to have mowed down celebrities.
It's curious. I did think it was very funny.
Crazy stalkers holding a famous actress hostage in her dressing room.
Yeah, yeah. I just try to focus the camera.
We haven't got these
by the
racist
way.
cops anywhere, so it's good.
Well, I thought it was quite funny the other day hearing that they were marauding. Well, where exactly was it in Beverly Hills? It was Beverly Hills, yeah. They were marching through there,
yes.
and these Hollywood type characters presumably were like, "Where's the police?" Having been saying on Twitter or whatever, defund the police.
Exactly. And the latest one, I don't know if you've seen it, but today in St. Louis, they had demonstrations.
Yeah, I saw that. I did.
That's what
I know
they're
where you're
calling
going.
them.
Go on.
And they were marching on the mayor's residence. The thing is, the mayor lives in a gated community.
Oh, that's nice.
Now they're saying there was a husband
because they can afford police, can't they? They can afford their own private police.
Yeah,
but it's everybody else that's buggered. So this lot, all these celebs, defund the police.
Here,
they can afford. Sorry, go on. I got excited.
Yeah, what happened here was we had a husband and wife who were both attorneys. The wife was part of the Honor Society, graduate graduated summa cum laude from Pennsylvania University in law, and she's so they know what they're doing. But these protesters forcibly entered the gated community, breaking down the gates,
Yeah.
and making violent threats against the residents and trying to enter their properties. Now, the media is saying that no, they were peacefully trying to assemble at the mayor's residence. It's a gated community, it's private land, it's
Yes.
trespass. So,
And-
but they weren't just peacefully marching to that point. Even that would have been criminal. But no, they were actually threatening the residents of that gated community. And a husband and wife, he came out with an AR-15 and she came out with a pistol, and they're trying to dox them and get them sacked because they were pointing firearms with their fingers by the trigger at these peaceful protesters who had violently broken into their community.
Oh, hold on, hold on, hold on.
They weren't just peacefully marching.
Hold on, Chris.
Even
Hold
that would have been
on.
criminal.
Okay, carry on. Sorry, had a bit of feedback going on. My fault. Carry on.
Yeah, so they were peaceful. They had violently broken in to this gated community. They were trespassing. They were making violent threats. So basically, because they're making violent threats, having trespass, this was felony trespassing. And these people were in fear for their lives, and they pointed firearms at them as is their right to defend themselves.
I saw that.
They're trying. You've
You
got
know,
all these
big
all these lawyers who are saying,
rifle.
"Yeah, but they had no right to do that. These were peaceful protesters. They weren't doing anything wrong. They were just going up there and blah, blah." And it's like, no, that's a load of bullshit.
This is the thing is you don't know, do you? You're in that situation, you've got a load of people, you do know that a lot of people have been murdered over the course of the last month, 6 weeks, whatever, as a result of all this, politically correct excuse for the deep state to try and destabilize the Trump presidency, basically, in the run up to the November election, which, let's face it, is what this is all about. And therefore, you've got these folks in St. Louis, as you say, stood outside their house. Sorry, do they call it St. Louis? I don't know. They're Americans. They probably don't know how to pronounce it. They stood outside their house. Trying to protect their property. And there's people shouting at them. And this is in the video. Shouting. And so they're like, you know what? You can bloody well bugger off. And it's not really surprising. People are fricked. They're worried. They're concerned. And who can blame them, frankly? And if you haven't got the police there to defend you, because you've got all these libtard mayors or whatever saying, "Oh, stand down, let them do it. It's fine. They can loot. That's fine. Trainers are far too expensive anyway." And what are people to do? What are people to do apart from to protect themselves? And that's where the Second Amendment comes in. And I guess that's where we're going, isn't it? I want to come on to that with you, Chris, because I'm really, really curious as to where this may go. I saw this website over the weekend called Deagle.com. Now, if anybody knows a bit about Deagle.com, I want to know more about Deagle.com, because they've got some fascinating and very, very concerning predictions about where the population of various Western countries and China are going by 2025, and it might be a complete distraction. I don't mean to be fake. I don't mean to do that. But this really, because I understand that this Deagle.com is a kind of advisors to global governments. They're also very mysterious and murky, a little bit Bilderberg-esque, as best I can tell. But I want to talk about that in a bit more, because I'm a bit concerned about where all this goes. And if, as many people believe, Trump is our last hope, really, before we get into a total Agenda 2030 situation and God knows what kind of depopulation. I mean, they seem to be, Chris. Now, I'm going to come on to the Viscount in a minute. It's just popped in. But, Chris, it does seem to me that wherever you look, these globalists who, whether they're in power or not, they seem to think that they are in power, or at least that they should be, because they don't give a damn, 2 hoots, 1 hoot even, about democracy. They do seem to be doing everything they can to lead us, Western nations, into civil war.
Yeah, and that is, I think, personally, what we're going to be left with as an option if Trump doesn't win. I don't know if you heard Hank Newsom, who is the chairman of the New York branch, whatever you want to call it, cell. I think it's probably a better term of Black Lives Matter.
Right. Yep. He's one of the leaders, one of the
openly
founders.
Made a terrorist threat on national television, threatening to burn everything down if they do not get their way. Now, I'm sorry, I may not fully agree with the areas.
And Trump said,
the areas of and the parts of the Patriot Act. But my question is, at this moment in time, with what he said, why is he not embraced this under the Patriot Act?
Why is he under the Patriot Act?
It is a clear. You know, it's a Patriot Act unconstitutional. I understand that, but with the viable terrorist threat that he made on national television, why is he not already in custody, in bracelets, being questioned by counter-terrorist interrogators?
Trump did say that the guy was, now I can't remember the words that he used, but Trump did comment on that comment from Newsom. So one of the founders of Black Lives Matter.
Treason, terrorism, insurrection.
Yes. But Trump isn't a judge. He's not in charge of the judiciary as such. So this is the question, isn't it? Because a lot of Republican voters or Trump supporters, who may not, generally speaking, be Republican voters, because it ain't the same thing. Trump destroyed the Republican Party pretty much, apparently, which is, I guess, why the likes of Bush and all these deep statists want Biden in. But Trump isn't... a lot of voters are going to be looking at this thinking, what is this president, toothless? Can he not do anything about this?
I think he can do. Oh, yeah. The Viscount's muted. He's.
Oh, I'll deal with that. I'll deal with that.
Yeah. He's part of what's been. He's still muted.
Right. I think we were all. I think I muted us all.
I'm now on. Olly likes to have me muted. I've been told off for my vernacular foul language, so I'm only going to speak in vernacular, in Latin.
Yes, quite right. Yes, now there's a new rule on this show. You can swear as long as it's longer than 3 syllables, or else it's in a foreign language, like Latin or Greek or whatever, and give us all a bit of an education. In other words, creative swearing, because Keir Starmer actually is a copulating vagina. That is a more appropriate term than the regular.
Well,
so there we go. That's the new rule.
Look, I was trying out some of my phrases with the wife, and she said, "Look, Rodri, you've got to be very, very careful here, because the way the world's going, which will lead, it feeds nicely into the conversation." And I said, I haven't done Latin for years, but in summus orgasmus est. And she said, that's pornographic. I said, in actual fact, I think you'll find, and Chris, good evening, sir, and as a man of religion, you will appreciate the term orgasmus, because if you go to a Roman Catholic mass in any German church, you'll hear it repeated 3 times. And my wife said, orgasmus, but that means orgasm. It's like, okay, what's the Latin derivation of the word? It means apex, peak, or pinnacle. So the pinnacle of the love of God is in orgasmus est. so you can expect a few more of these, Ollie. But they will have an origin, which is cultural.
Yep.
And there we go. But coming back to the conversation which you were embarked upon, I think if Trump does not get in, it bodes extremely badly for the globe, the world.
Look, before we get there, whoa, Rodri, before we go there, why, if I'm an American voter, or even if I'm not, and I'm looking at Trump, I could be thinking, the guy is toothless. So I might as well vote for Biden, and maybe life will be a bit more peaceful.
Well, in actual fact, Trump has gone about as far out as he possibly can, making the statement. Can you imagine this from Obama? When the looting starts, the shooting starts. And he's been lambasted for that on that Twitter comment. Now, let's not forget, in the Second World War, our troops were told, as soon as you see a looter, shoot him on sight.
But Trump didn't, though. Trump didn't. He threatened that, and then he pulled back.
Well, do you know what? Because, unfortunately, he hasn't quite yet finished draining the swamp of the professional politicians and advisors and all these groups that now have access to media that we didn't have in the past, where all of a sudden, a black criminal gets, he's killed. And do you know what? The nature of his death is disputed. The coroner's formal report is that he was high on drugs and he didn't die of asphyxiation. He died of heart attack.
He had a heart attack. He also had coronavirus. I'm amazed that they didn't just put him down as another coronavirus victim, because I thought that's the only thing you're allowed to die of this year.
Well, that wouldn't have
no. You've got to put him down for it. It's all this intersectionality now. You've got to put him. You've got to death by cop actually still comes higher than coronavirus.
I mean,
death
Chris,
by what?
You know how to do the classic old stroke chokehold.
Well, a carotid restraint, yes, because
it goes on the left side of the neck, and it's like this. You bring
you cut off the blood to the brain, not the oxygen to
that is an accepted control and restraint procedure in jails in the US, the UK, and across. I'm sorry.
Well, Dan Bongino actually
said.
Sorry,
Chris, I've lost you.
Sorry. Dan Bongino actually said that if we get rid of carotid restraint, people are going to die.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
knocking someone out.
It's going to be a lot of. There's going to be a lot of senior politicians going to be very upset too, because they like a bit of that.
Rather than use a carotid restraint, because the carotid restraint is a non-lethal technique or a less lethal technique.
It's a less lethal alternative.
It's a less lethal technique that you can use, and it's probably the least lethal one that they have in their arsenal. Is for them to use to deal with lethal threat. So, if you take away that, what have they got? They've got the taser.
Yeah.
They've got
the French police are threatening strike if they can't.
And both of those have more likelihood of killing you.
Protect themselves.
Yeah.
No, the French police are the French police are up in arms about Macron saying he's going to outlaw this technique, aren't they? Because they're saying, you know what, a lot of these folks they really are not safe to handle. It's the only way we can be assured of our safety. And so there is another side to this argument, this debate, which the media just isn't talking about at all. Anyway.
I'm looking at this situation, and there is a reason why you don't vote for Biden. It's quite clear. If you're American and you want your constitutional rights, you have to vote Republican. Or you can vote Libertarian if you really, really can't do that, but you cannot vote Democrat, because the Democrats now are full force. Their political position in this election is basically shredding the Constitution, supporting all these Marxist ideas, filling the Supreme Court with young, hard left activists who are activist judges, and also the lower court. And they've even said you don't need just 9. We just need
politicians who marry their brother.
So we'll add extra. We'll add it. We'll fill it full. We are going to break the constitution to make DC a state, and there are actually very good reasons why DC is not a state. It's a federal city, and it comes down to security matters and stuff like that. And they want to make Puerto Rico a state, which then means the Senate completely is lost to the Republicans for all time. So you won't have the ability to have the Senate. They want to get rid of the electoral college, so you won't have the presidency, you won't have the Senate, so no Congress, no Senate, no judges. So who's going to protect your constitutional rights? They don't care about the Constitution. They're all progressives. Progressives hate the Constitution.
Chris, I'd like to come back to the point that Olly made earlier, that Trump has succeeded in breaking the Republican Party. Now, if we look at the party system, what Trump
and the Democrats, you could argue.
But this is the point I'm making, Olly.
Yeah.
In actual fact, what he's done is he's broken the professional political class.
Duopolistic politics.
And that is why it is essential he gets re-elected. I don't view Trump as a Republican. The Republican Party were as against him as the Democrats.
That's right.
And they went
because that's the truth, isn't it? He's not really a Republican or a Democrat, really, is he? Is that not his appeal?
Well, do you know what?
Partly,
and that is his appeal.
Largely.
And this is the point. This is why I believe he's going to get in. But if he doesn't get in, America faces several challenges, putting the amendments of the Constitution to one side. They'll go by the wayside. We are facing, make no two ways about it, a major economic crash, the likes of which have not been seen for over 60, 70 years since the Depression. And if you think about the films, of course, the modern youth and the political professional class can't be asked to watch this stuff. When you had couples doing marathon dancing where there was prize money, $25, put up for the couple who could dance the longest. And some of these competitions took place over 2 days. Those who lost starved. This is what these people don't understand. And I have this constant conversation with my wife. It's like, well, why don't we have a better standard of living? It's like we've never had it so good. You know what the definition of poverty means? You don't have a 72-inch plasma screen nicked on a Black Friday out of a shop, being the discount sale, Olly, so you don't have to get too hot on the collar on that one. I think that's what they're still called, the Black Friday sales.
Yeah, they are.
Free to those who break in as an act of looting. But we forget how cherished and coveted we've been since the Second World War. And what Trump is doing is breaking down the political class that has been like, it's been like not a spinach, a seaweed that's grown around the rocks and it needs to be exposed and destroyed. And when I say destroyed, I mean that in a figurative way. But you're absolutely right, Chris. You've got some maniac who say Black Lives Matter. Well, they don't matter more than mine, as far as I'm concerned, or my child's, or yours, or Ollie's, or some starving kid in Vietnam. They can go to hell with themselves. Why is he not behind bars? I got 12 weeks, as you well know, for making a joke on Facebook. Saying that he's going to burn
on that precedent, you made your supposed threat against Gina Miller was a lot more veiled than what he's just said.
Burning down cities. And let's look at the aftermath of Baltimore. When you see the video footage of the buildings on fire, the smashed up retail premises, which cost people their livelihood. Why is it that Black lives matter more than ours? There's a fundamental point that the politicians are too frightened to address.
Too frightened or too cynical?
Too
frightened or too cynical?
Sorry, Ollie, say that again.
Are they too frightened?
No,
Or are they too
you know
cynical to
know
say
what?
that all lives matter?
I think-
Black Lives Matter is racist, and actually
It
it's just an excuse to
It's black
destabilize
supremacist.
Trump. I've already said
Black
that.
supremacy is no different than white supremacy.
Yeah,
They are
Well-
both. They're both
bollocks either way.
disastrous. They're both disgusting ideologies. If
All
you
right,
believe
I've got a
that
challenge.
due to the colour of your skin, you are better than someone else, you are a racist and you are scum. And I'm
Okay.
sorry,
Yeah,
Black Lives
that's right.
Matter.
That's right.
Black Lives Matter.
Chris, I've got a-
supremacy
I've got a-
organisation.
Chris, I've got a challenge for you, and the challenge is this: white supremacy was championed by the Ku Klux Klan. Now the black folks who are extreme racist, they've championed the BLM. Now I challenge you, if you were
Soros's
working
group.
for Saatchi and Saatchi, to rebrand Black Lives Matter in the true colour of what they represent.
Mm.
Oh, they'd be in red.
Ku
Red-
Klux Klan.
red-
Think of the three.
Well, yeah, you may as well just put them in. BLM could if they were going to have a uniform, it would be a Klan uniform, but all in black.
That's right.
Yeah, but
Well,
rename
Antifa
them.
Yeah,
already
If you
wear
were gonna
that.
Start a
don't they?
campaign. Remember the Great
BLM
campaign
could
when Margaret
if they
Thatcher
were
was.
going to have a uniform.
Hold on, one at a
it would be
time.
a Klan
One at a
uniform,
time.
but all in black.
Yeah, but
Well,
rename
Antifa
them.
Yeah,
already
If you
wear
were gonna
that.
Start a
blimey.
campaign.
Oh,
Remember the
it's-
Great.
BLM.
Sorry, I got confused.
Oh, your text gone wrong again.
I had a bit of feedback and couldn't work out what was going on. Look, let's take a few comments to see what people got to say about this and whatnot and have you. Hey, Claire Roberts, Dr. Charlie Ward, YouTube, Truth Seeker. Thank you, Claire. I don't know who that is, but get him on the show. Steve B says there are too many rhinos in the grand old party. Karen Frost, George Bush in front of a camera. Well, the Constitution is just a piece of paper and shrugs. And I think Barack Obama has said similar things as well. Karen Frost says Steve B, Crooked, HRC. I think that's Hillary
You've got
Ronald
a tech
Clinton.
problem.
And or Big Mike will be on the ballot, even if Vice President for Creepy Basement Joe. The VP will be the Dem ballot. Trump 2020, Steve adds. And that is a very good point, is it not? Because really, it seems to me, this guy who's got dementia, apparently, pretty obviously, they're trying to keep him, in his basement. As Steve points out, they're trying to cover up this guy because he's inept, frankly. He can't string a sentence together anymore without getting his facts wrong and wildly inaccurate and all the rest of it. And it's
It
hilarious.
does make you wonder.
It's brilliant comedy, per president material. So therefore, going in his 80s or whatever, the presidential nominee's brain is missing. Presumably, whoever his VP is going to be is actually going to be pretty much in charge. Now,
And
they
I'm
reckon,
hearing that's going to
I
be
think it's,
Kamala Harris.
yeah, I was going to say, Chris, this Kamala Harris. So is she not?
Who basically she's the former Attorney General of California, and I'm not gonna mince words about her. She's a two-bit attorney, two-bit attorney, and a high-class call girl. That's the only reason. The only reason she's got anywhere in politics is because she laid on her back for Willie Brown.
Because she laid on her back what?
For Willie Brown, who
Willie
was
Brown.
a senior Democrat
Willie
politician.
Brown?
Willie Brown, he was a what? She was.
Or
a
was that
mistress.
Brown Willie? You dyslexic.
No, Willie Brown was his name. He was a Democrat politician, one of the senior people in the California Democratic Party, and she got her start in politics because she laid on her back for him and was his mistress.
How do you know this?
Hang on.
Oh, whoa,
Very common knowledge.
Rod, be quiet, be
Common
quiet.
knowledge in California.
Rodri, be quiet. I will mute you both if you don't allow me to defend the law and say that this is allegedly an allegation. How do you know this, Chris? How do you know this? How do you know this allegation?
These allegations are. These have been reported in, even been reported in mainstream newspapers. That's how open it is. And she doesn't even deny that she had a relationship with Willie.
Okay. Never mind that, though, because you could argue that that is the case with pretty much anybody in politics in one way or another, and in many, many other industries besides. But more to the point, she is she not, a big supporter of this whole Black Lives Matter, nonsense going on? Whoa, hold on, Rodri. Hold on, one at a time. Please, Chris.
Viscount, you might actually find this quite interesting. Kamala Harris is also extremely good friends with Jussie Smollett, and she was the one that was involved with
Jussie Smollett, who lied about getting done in.
Yeah, about the fake hate crime, and she was using it as a political, as part of her thing to push an anti-lynching agenda, even though there's not been lynchings in God knows how many years. It was basically trying to make out that he was trying to make political capital, and he was basically playing. It was all a big conspiracy on that they had concocted together.
Jussie Smollett is a C-list actor or something that reckoned he was beaten up, and then it turned out it was all fantasy, and it's actually going through the courts at the moment. And so she supported him, did she? Before it went to court.
Yes.
Well,
he was
let's take
involved
one
in the whole thing.
Chris, hang on. Let's take one subject at a time. So we have a politician who's got into politics by lying on her back. Let's not forget
allegedly
that one of my favourite Italian MPs for comedic value and Pornhub value is the great Cicciolina, who was a Hungarian porn star who was elected to the Italian Parliament. And for the benefit of world peace, she offered to sleep with Saddam Hussein if he would remove his troops from Kuwait. So this is not a valid argument. However, and don't forget, you as a pastor and a Christian, in fact, you're a universal pastor, but I think you're Christian as well. Yes or no?
More universalism, but yeah.
Universalism. The point is that we should be looking, and actually it's a very relevant point, we shouldn't look in the rearview mirror where we've been. Whatever sins of the past should be buried if we are repentant. The point is that where is society and the world headed to? That is not, we need to respect history, no two ways about it, and that's what the current Black Lives Matter group are trying to destroy. Because all history gives us is an understanding of where we went wrong and where we arrived at where we are. But the reality is, in terms of where we want to go to, all you'd have to do is put your foot on the accelerator and look through the front windscreen. Nothing else counts. And again, I got an airload from the wifey, indoors. It's like, Rodri, but what about what happened to us with Emma Arbuthnot? It's irrelevant now. It's irrelevant. It's all history. The only thing that matters is the here and now and the plans for the future. How do we get to a better place from where we sit in the driver's seat? Now, coming back to the point about Trump not getting in, America faces some rather significant challenges. In fact, the world does. And the world hasn't rather appreciated it yet. Europe, in particular, we have a major...
No. Hold on. Before we go there, Viscount, and we are going to go there and talk about what this means in terms of China's supremacy as well. But before we do go there, I just want to be clear here. Is this correct? We have, of course, the Democrats want their man, their deep state bloke, whatever, to win. The media, practically all of it, wants Biden to win. They don't like Trump. They are owned by the people that basically own the Democratic Party. These deep state actors that are globalists. Now, this is a question, yeah? This is one big question, and I want you both to tell me where I am wrong. Hopefully, with some of these points, yeah? When I finish this. And then you've got the GOP, and they all want Trump to lose as well. Even people like Lindsey Graham, who, in my opinion, is a total snake and as deep state as they can get. These people actually are just, they're bad actors, yeah. They are pretending to be somehow on side with Trump. But when it comes to it, when it comes to the election, they are not standing up. He seems to me, he's like a man, he's marooned on an island, on a political island, all on his own, and he's getting no support whatsoever from his own party, practically anywhere in his own party. And even then, like the Fox News, for example, which is supposed to be the counterbalance to an extent, not entirely, to the outrageous bias that is CNN, for example, and all that, MSNBC, blah, blah, blah. Even they have turned against Trump. Also, am I wrong here? I'm just, because the thing is,
I think you're overstating the position.
I will finish the question. If I am right, I really seriously do wonder how Trump has got a hope in hell of winning in November. And that I personally think is scary, as we will discuss in the second half of the show. Please, one at a time, gentlemen.
Olly, you've asked in that last tirade, you've asked a number of questions, not one question. First of all, I'd like to start with your first point. Ronnie Reagan was an absolutely dreadful actor, but he was a bloody good president.
No, I didn't mean that kind of actor. I didn't mean that kind of actor.
I know exactly what you mean. I was trying to introduce an element of comedy.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, all right. But this is very, very serious, actually. Our world is on the brink of absolute disaster. And it seems to me, by my estimation, if Trump doesn't make it into a second term, where then surely at last he will have the authority to drain the bloody swamp, then I really think we're screwed. I really think we're screwed. Like 1930s all over again.
Okay. Well, do you know what? It's even worse than that. The problem that in my view is, and I hate to use the word granular, but in actual fact, it is the correct expression. If we look at the nature of politicians, it's all about money and a power grab. The last thing you want as a Republican politician is Donald Trump, who doesn't give a damn about the future of your career because he doesn't rely on your support. And that's why in the election, he separated himself from the Republican Party, even though he stood on the Republican board. He told them all to go to Satan and get boiled alive in hot frying oil. And politicians don't like that. If you look at elected judges in America, and I think, Chris, you'll back me up on this, how you can have a judge who has to stand for election based on his record beats me. In Britain, you're a judge who's elected for life until you become so mad that clearly, you pass out in a garret club after a quart and a half of port. The politics is no longer a vocation; it's a profession that provides security of income, and anyone who challenges that, based on a political, philosophical view, is a threat.
Therefore, how can he possibly win?
Because the people get to vote. The only saving grace in America, in fact, anywhere, as proved by Boris Johnson.
They're going to get to vote by postal vote. They're going to be voting in 3.5 months' time by post.
Okay, well, what are you going to do about it? Do you know what? The people do have a choice. And it's very easy to come up with a narrative and complain. And again, I had a bit of an argy-bargy with the missus last night when she said, I don't like this, I don't like that. It's like, well, what do you like? Well, I don't really know. It's like, well, in terms of what you do like, well, I'm not going to swear on
Use a bit of Latin.
Bit
of Latin.
Bit of Latin. Non in annus est secundus. Sorry, I was just trying to be erudite. I made that up, by the way.
Right. Good. Yeah, got the idea.
You won't find that in
right. Okay. Boosey. How can he defeat these almost insurmountable odds, given that the American people are being bombarded with propaganda, even from Fox?
This is the thing. A lot of people seem to think that Fox is a right-wing news channel. It was created to be that. It no longer is. It was pulled out. Okay, which is why we have people like Donna Brazil as contributors now on Fox. Okay, so
how can Trump survive?
Okay, can I continue? It's a bit difficult to continue with. Right. So what's actually happened is we've now got One American News, which is the only one we've actually really got as a TV station. Now, in addition, the traditional GOP, there has been how can I put it? The new candidates that are coming forward are not your traditional rhinos for the most part. What you're now getting, a lot of the people who are coming forward are Trumpicans, not Republicans. That is a good thing for the Republican Party, because those people, when they stand, they're getting elected. The rhinos aren't. So the people are already identifying who's the real who's basically in their interest and who's a career politician. So we're already seeing that. And this is even happening in California. This is a big deal when you see things like this happening in California. Not, we're not in the Midwest or somewhere like that. California, liberal as they come, if Trump supporting candidates are getting elected, that's a big bellwether. In addition, we've got, when we look at
give me an example, Chris. Give me an example. You did talk about this a bit last week. This is a very interesting.
We have had in the most recent special elections that we've had to replace people, and a long time Democrat seat, the one which was held by Katie Hill, that went to a Trump Republican. And she was the Democrat who was basically using her staffer for sexual gratification. And
that's right.
Katie Hill is a well-known porn star, and I can tell
you that's Katie Price.
Katie Hill, and I can tell you because I saw her on Pornhub the other day during lockdown. I was a bit bored in my office here, which is the bathroom. I haven't sworn, Ollie. I don't think
you haven't. No. Just insinuated that you're knocking one out to Katie Hill. That's fine. You can do that, actually. You can do that. You can talk about knocking one out until you're blue in the face.
Yeah. But this is the thing. So we've had that. We're seeing the people demonstrating heavily against the Governor Gavin Newsom in California. That was happening before these Black Lives Matter ones, and everyone was criticising them. What we're seeing is a steady movement of the people against the politicians, and they're not going to vote for Biden, who, let's be blunt, he's a dementia-ridden racist rapist.
What we need.
But they're not going to vote. They're not going to vote for him. And this is. And when you talk about
Chris, Chris, I saw a news flash this afternoon. And it was of an American couple, obviously in an affluent area.
We
because
were
they were
talking
standing outside their
before
house.
you came on. Me and Ollie were talking about that.
The husband was holding semi-automatic.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Hang on a second.
Yeah.
I thought it was rather interesting, and it's a sign of things to come.
Yeah,
there was a Black Lives Matter march past their house, and he stood there with a semi-auto, and she stood there, I think, with a pistol or a rifle. And it's like, you come near our house, you come near our homestead, and it comes back to the days of the Wild West when you had to defend your homestead. So 150 years of American history has served almost no purpose.
Yeah. And we talked about this, and the media's trying to play it one way, and I actually corrected on her feed a Jewish doctor who was trying to a black Jewish doctor who was trying to Jewish doctor. So she's an attorney with a law.
Sorry, I thought you said black Jewish doctor.
Jewish. No. So she was trying to defend Black Lives Matter and say that they were being peaceful and all this, when actually the reports are completely. They were being violent. They broke into a gated community, so it's private land. They broke down the gates, and they were going up to people's properties, and they were being violent and threatening. So these people were well.
Let me just read people. Let me just read people the story.
Chris,
hold on. Let me just read people this story, just so that they know exactly what we're talking about here, because this is quite possibly, well, it is where the States has gone. And apparently where it's going to continue to go, by the sounds of it. And in the UK, had we not had our guns confiscated from us, it would happen to us. It would be able to do it too, because the police aren't doing it, are they? But anyway, this is according to Sky News, Sly News, actually. St. Louis' US couple who pointed guns at protesters in video were in fear of their lives. Police say they responded to report. This is it. Look at this. Look at that.
That's it, Ollie.
Quite amazing. So let me just read the bit of this story. Police say they responded to reports that the group was yelling obscenities and threats of harm to the residents. The couple who were filmed pointing guns at protesters in St. Louis as the activists marched outside their mansion say they were in fear of their lives from an angry mob. The demonstrators were demanding the city mayors resign after revealing the personal details of several residents who had called for police defunding. Videos from the Missouri protest, which has circulated widely on social media, showed 63-year-old Mark McCloskey, hero, brandishing a semi-automatic rifle, while his wife Patricia, 61,
AR-15,
was armed with a pistol. A Colt whatnot, says Chris, he's a reverend with a gun. He packs a gun. In the footage, the couple, both barefoot, but not black-faced, is it blackface?
Hang on a sec. Ollie,
was seen shouting at protesters. They were protecting their property. They were scared. I'm not surprised. How is the Chaz zone, Chris? How are the Chazsters?
Ollie, before we go to the Chaz
zone,
zone,
Viscount. Go on, Viscount.
I'm just looking at Chris's uniform. When did you get out on parole or escape?
What do you mean? I'm wearing
I'm just jersey. Chris, I'm just looking at what you're wearing, and that is a prison jumpsuit.
No, it isn't. A prison jumpsuit is bright orange.
Go on, stand up and show us your black and white stripes.
Look at this. Okay. In danger of bringing us back to the.
I'm having a laugh, Chris. But wearing black and white stripes is.
He does.
It has a sense of nostalgia for me.
Yes, that's right. He's done his bit of time inside.
Get your mallet out and start breaking rocks.
Exactly.
Look at this, yeah. Sky News as well. I apologise for this, low life news channel, but they're saying Donald Trump has been suspended from live streaming platform Twitch, or Twats or something, for hateful conduct, and Reddit has shut down a forum for the president's supporters. Well, actually, that happened months ago. But apparently Twitch has now done similarly as well. Look, this guy is going to have a tough time. My last question, before we go on to the ramifications if he is to lose, is how accurate are these polls? Because it doesn't just seem to be CNN with their, just asking Democrat voters who all live in the Hillary Clinton household anymore. It also seems to be other, polls who are maybe a little bit less biased. And the mean average of these polls does suggest that we need to be worried. And that's one of the reasons, by the way, why I wanted to do this show, because I think that people in the States really, really need to wake up and think about this, because they ain't getting this debate from the media. The media want to sleepwalk you into a mail-in ballot.
Great soliloquy. I think people are brighter than we give them credit for. Hence, we were not going to go for the Labour Party in the last election. Hence, Trump got elected. I sat up through the whole of election night when Trump was elected, and all the polls were against him. It was all for Hillary. And people are, I think, fed up. And the more that the fake stream media, and what Trump has done brilliantly, is pointing out fake news, and he does it on Twitter.
Yeah,
it's
I
a
agree.
direct relationship
Better than anything.
with the voter. It's not filtered. He comes straight out. He has a thought at 2:00 in the morning, and he goes, "You know what? The people need to know this." And I think people respect that, because we no longer can trust the media. The last show, I think we discussed how, in actual fact, we would try and change the world. And
You say that.
And
Let me give you an example, Viscount. I spoke to my dear old mum a couple of days ago, and she said to me something about Trump in a very derogatory fashion. Now, she and I talk about politics. We talk about politics a lot. She understands, or no, I don't think she does. She has heard so many times my opining and lamenting at the fact that the mainstream media is fake, and that the BBC, for example, is at the top of the pile of fake smoking turdiness. But she still finds Trump suspect, despite the fact that she has some understanding of or at least has heard some reports about some of the dangers of these Pizzagate artists on the other side or whatever. My point here is that people are taken in, and these are people that could well be in the Trump camp. They're not the Twitch gaming idiots who are either gaming or pulling down statues that actually were of people that were defending emancipation and calling for it. But these are people that actually you would hope would know better.
Olly, I'll just make three hopefully succinct responses. First of all, you've got a generational issue where previous generations felt that they could rely on the media, and if it came from the BBC, it was...
That's my point. That's really my point.
And, you had the World Service, the shipping forecast, and you could rely on the British Broadcasting Corporation. Now, things have moved on. We've now skipped three pathetic generations, which were the baby boomers that then didn't bother to bring up their children properly. And we've ended up with a bunch of snowflakes. And the point being is we've now had also, in parallel, an acceleration of technology that allows us to communicate with millions of people, as opposed to writing a mate a card from Brighton Beach. All of a sudden, you can access millions of people.
There's a big campaign, Chris, there's a big campaign now to basically make Zuckerzits completely ostracize Trump's campaigning. And so it is all for the left, all for Biden. And we've got people like Coca-Cola and Nike and God knows what, all these libtard organizations that need to implode, frankly, are saying that they're refusing to advertise with fake book until they start being as politically partisan as CNN, for example, despite the fact that Clegg book, fraud book, whatever you want to call it, already are grotesquely partisan. Their fact checkers are all completely to the left. They're all ex-Democrat, party, whatevers, and all the rest of it. I mean, my page, Daily Brexit, for example, is constantly shadow banned. And that is the case with anybody who is conceivably to the right. When actually we're not to the right, we're just liberals. We believe in free speech.
Olly Razzler, you've given me an idea, and we've got to slow the communication between the questions that you raise, because we can't think about 12 different questions at the same time.
Well, come on, get it together, man.
Hang on, I'll be very succinct. One of the points that you raised is globalization by big corporations, Coca-Cola, etc., etc.
My point really is social media is also poor. No,
Olly, wait.
I'll shut up.
I'm going to give you a real specific, which in actual fact will give you the clue as to where interests lie. Goldman Sachs was anti-Brexit.
Yeah.
It was a Ramona company, the world's biggest investment bank. And guess what? They did a 180-degree turn in order to keep their market share.
Yeah.
So was that a decision made by management on some morality or political analysis, or was it based on the balance of their book and their profitability?
Exactly.
So when you talk about the support for the Democrats and supported by globalization, big corporations, what do the big corporations require? They require more earnings per share in order to support the executives' inflated salaries and stock options. Goldman Sachs couldn't have been a more perfect example. No Brexit. It's going to destroy Europe. It's going to destroy Britain. Britain's going to be fucked. We're going to... Sorry.
Sorry,
I slipped.
Going to be pummeled up the bottom.
In consumus est.
Yes.
And Goldman Sachs were threatening to move their entire operation to Frankfurt, which is the most boring city, frankly, on the planet, next to Bournemouth, which is the living dead but walking around. And all of a sudden, when they realised the natural fact that strategy didn't work, what do? They're the biggest supporters of Brexit now. We're not leaving Frankfurt. We're staying in London. We're taking more office space. What does that tell you about globalization and the motives, the incentives for big business? It's got nothing to do. I was going to use another word, but I managed to avoid it. It's, you know what, Olly? Wouldn't you like a $5.5 million bonus at Christmas because you're able to fluff the markets? The answer is no, you wouldn't, because you're honest. You have integrity, which is why we do the show.
God bless you, mate.
Bluntly. No, but it's true.
But it's like having a laugh, taking the piss. Sorry, go on. Carry on. Yes.
Have fun whilst doing it. Always look on the bright side of life. But that's the reality. And Goldman Sachs is the standout bank for me because it managed to avoid a crippling... I'll take a step back. If we look at the diesel fraud emanating from Germany, so you've got Volkswagen, you've got Daimler, Benz, etc., and these guys have been stuffed quite rightly for 20, 30, 40, $50 billion at a time. Goldman Sachs managed to avoid any prospect of prosecution despite its implicit not cooperation. It was at the heart of the crisis of 2007, 2008 by trading all these dodgy bonds. What does it do? The chairman pays out $4 billion. So there's a very, and I hate to say, Jewish deal, because Goldman Sachs is a Jewish company. They've done the best deal on the planet. $4 billion, we all walk free. Guess what? The shareholders are absolutely happy. Goldman Sachs shares went through the bloody roof. When you saw Lehman Brothers collapse, not supported by the Fed, you saw Bear Stearns collapse, not supported by the Fed.
I'd like you to connect this to how the bottom line, Rodders, is that these people are controlling not only the mainstream media, but also increasingly the social media. And so I'm kind of countering what Chris, I was kind of countering what you were saying, sir, about the social media is where this is going to be fought. But actually, the social media, I mean, Trump is getting potentially between now and the election hammered on social media as well, the way things are beginning to look.
I know that, but they are dealing with that. The decisions that have been made in relation to Section 230 are going to be extraordinarily painful for the social media companies who are exhibiting bias, because think about every single last thing that an individual posts on social media, how many millions of posts there are a day, how many hundreds of thousands of potentially of posts are posted across these platforms each day that could be construed as criminally based. Now, you remove 230,
well, Chris,
let
me tell you right now. Right,
well,
Chris.
Tell him.
Let me stop you right there. I'm banned. I've had my 30-day ban on Facebook, and all I did was to repost something which has gone viral, and they picked me up within 5 minutes of me posting anything. There's an algorithm that has Viscount St. David's written across it.
Yeah.
I did not put any comment across the top. Ollie, I sent it to you.
Yeah, I know.
You know the one I mean. I didn't have to apologise.
It was Nick Clegg sat on the photocopier without his underpants on, wasn't it?
Do you know what? They have a red flag out. And what was interesting is I know everyone who I sent it to, none of whom have been banned, except me. Because it's been reposted. Ollie, you know how many shares you get, because people love sharing stuff.
Cheeky.
And it's been reposted and reposted. None of my friends have been banned. I have for 30 days. I'm back on Facebook, by the way. Major announcement, July the 10th, I think, is the end of the ban. But the point being is that what social media promised us was a freedom of speech, a platform where we could all communicate, share ideas, share grievances, share alternative
So hold on a
views,
sec. If you've been banned from Facebook, why aren't you more active on dailychaos.news in the forum there? You should be there. You should be being active there. Dailychaos.news. This is a plug. This is a plug, people. Dailychaos.news. The forum there. Never mind all this Cleggbook nonsense and all that, or Twitter and it. Yeah, we're on Parler too. Parler.com. Yeah, Chris is, and I am. And are you on there, Rodders? But get dailychaos.news. Look. I want to ask you, gentlemen, because we've only got another 10 minutes, and we're not going to be able to cover. We're not going to be able to cover the entire calamity that befalls this world if Trump. Maybe even if he is, maybe the guy is a complete fraud, and that this is all just a big, ha. And when it comes to it, he won't do any draining of the deep state in the second. But you know what? I kind of suspect that he will and wants to. I suspect, given the chance, and he's the only hope we've got. And so it seems to me now, on that, given that logic or hope or whatever, it seems to me that if he doesn't get in, we really are screwed. And to the point that I don't think that we can cover that in 7-8 minutes. So
Well,
my suggestion.
I can tell you exactly what will happen if Trump
Well,
doesn't get
Chris,
elected.
before you do, because yes, I want you to give us but can you and Rodders, please, can we make this a two-parter? Today we've talked about the problems that Trump has. Tomorrow, can we talk about the problems that the world has? If it seems to me if he doesn't get in November, can we do that?
Oh,
Yeah, we can.
Absolutely.
Okay, I can tell you right now what will happen on November 4th if
Go
Trump
on.
isn't re-elected.
Cool.
The people are now. The people are open. There is conversations already going about what do we do, and they know that it isn't the end of America and the world if Trump doesn't get elected, because he doesn't get the House or keep the Senate, because they are needed. Those things are needed to finish the job. Reality is we have a protection in America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Up stands the militia. It will be as simple as that. There will be, bear in mind, there's an interim period. The people will not stand. The people, the law-abiding people, will not stand for America being turned into a Marxist hellhole. They won't. Simple as it will be. Right, guys, let's go. We march. And no, it will be the second civil. It will be the second U.S. Civil War. Simple as that. Because people this is the thing. When we look at about civil war and civil disobedience, the reality is people do not. The middle class is the problem. The middle class do not go to war if they have anything to lose. Now we've had this coronavirus and we've got California threatening to re-lock down everything and all of this past November. So basically you're economically destroying people's lives. You're getting rid of their hope for the future because you're putting complete threat against their way of life, because you've got one party who has got terrorist wings. There is no difference between the Democratic Party having BLM and Antifa now than there was with Sinn Féin and the IRA. It is one and or the Nazi Party and the Sturmabteilung. It is exactly the same. They are terrorist wings. It's as simple as that. And the people have recognised it. They know that they're not pulling down Confederate statues, and the Democrats only support the Confederate statues being pulled down because they're all former Democrats, but they were all very willing to metaphorically suck off Senator Robert Byrd, Grand Kleagle of West Virginia, of the Klan, chief recruiter for West Virginia, state that seceded from Virginia because it didn't agree with the Civil War. It didn't agree with the Confederacy and supported the Union. So West Virginia was a Union state. So he effectively was the creator of the Klan in West Virginia.
Okay, Chris. Okay, we're running out of time. But by the way, I suggest you change your T-shirt, because if you walked into my house in that T-shirt with holding a shotgun, there's only going to be one response. You're a prison escapee who's holding up a family. I'm not a rapper. I'm
wearing a Royal Air Force rugby jersey.
There it is. Dance along, Chris. It's your heritage.
Right, coming to the end of the show. Coming up to the end of the show, people.
Chris,
we're going to continue this.
Inspired.
How you know why it's black and white stripes? It's a Spitfire. It's the Spitfires.
No, it's not. It's the whatnots. What were these called? Hurricanes. They were hurricanes, weren't they?
No, the Spitfire had the Spitfire. A lot of the Spitfires. Had
No,
Those
the
are
damn-
Spitfires.
The
on
damn
the-
Buster Brigade people. They were Hurricanes, weren't they?
They
By count?
they were Lancaster bombers.
Lancasters!
617
Lancasters!
Squadron.
Lancasters. Excuse me, so ignorant.
617 Squadron, led by Guy Gibson.
Right.
The Bounty bomb.
Right. You know what? I just. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? I just read this story. I just read this story about now the latest one that's apparently racist is Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens, yeah. Get this.
What?
According to Breitbart. Hold on a sec. Let me pop this on the thing. Oh, hold on. That's no good. You can't see it there. Right. According to this, Charles Dickens Museum defaced with graffiti branding the Victorian author racist. According to Breitbart, a British politician has warned that our culture is under threat, under attack, after reports the Charles
It is.
Dickens Museum in Broadstairs, Kent, was vandalised with graffiti branding the beloved Victorian writer a racist. Charles Dickens frequented
one of the
Broadstairs
greatest
during his
human He was one of the greatest. He was one of the greatest humanist authors.
Yeah,
in
he did
along
more
with Ant-
to
along
expose
with Anthony
poverty than anybody else of his age.
Trollope. Yeah, Oliver Twist.
Yeah,
A Tale of
who
Two
I was
Cities.
named after, by the way. My parents, they went to see it in the West End, Lionel Bart's production. They couldn't decide what the blooming heck to call me, so I'll call him Oliver. So there you go. Yeah, Charles Dickens, can you believe it? Charles Dickens.
Well,
Dodgy
just wait
beard,
till they
but-
start attacking Shakespeare for writing Othello, and attacking Anthony Trollope. Well, frankly, I'm
What a
running
load
out
of trollops. It's incredible, isn't it? Where we are going. Where we are going. We're going to talk about where we're going tomorrow, folks. So we'll see you then. Same crew. And I think an old mate of mine, Simon Richards, is going to be coming on to, I don't know, try and not get, a police visit for sounding, I don't know, racist, for saying something honest or something like that. And we'll see you then. Yeah.
I tell you what, Ollie, you'll be standing with the keep just on.
Oh, hold on. So, what's that? What, in the feud? Asking for gruel?
I said you'll
Oh no, it's started again. Oh, it's started again. Start again. No.
Brilliant!
Oh, there we go. Oh, what's that? Go on, we're there.
Misplaced orgasm.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. You know what? We should be adventurous. What are we going to play tomorrow? Let's play something else, which is copyright free. It has to be copyright free.
I tell you what, you can play, because what we'll do tomorrow, I think, is
Have hysterics.
we'll have a very
By the time we get through tomorrow's show.
a profound conversation, and I think we should end up with the great British composer Edward Elgar, and we should play Nimrod. And Nimrod is only played at very solemn occasions.
That's
So
right.
we have a laugh at this show towards the end, then we play
Cry off
Nimrod. Sorry?
Nimrod's enough to send you off crying. It's
does
beautiful. Always reminds me of my old man.
I've got to add on my.
What? How is the loo, by the way? Are you still hanging out in the toilet? Yadis Castle.
Here's my pillow, this Portland bag. And
Why?
No, it's where his wife sent him. It's a naughty step, which is something to do with it.
I don't blame her, to be frank. I mean, me being in prison was an absolute godsend for her. She knew I couldn't get into any more trouble. Well, not huge trouble. And I just knew she was spending an awful lot of money travelling around Europe using her credit card. She was coming to visit the our roots in Mon-Thu. How many shops can you imagine exist between Belgravia and Portsmouth? Well, according to my credit card statement, there are about 2,000. But you know what? You're not prison. You're absolutely spot on. I think the
You're not on camera now, and it's probably just as well because we all get banned. Look, see you tomorrow, folks. Thank you, everybody in the comments. I know I've been a bit crap with the comments. I'll tell you, it's very, very difficult to produce these two, and even myself, frankly, as my wife would tell you. But God bless you. See you tomorrow, 9 o'clock
Olly,
UK time. That's 4 o'clock EDT.
Before you go, have the comments gone? What's the general answer?
They all think you should be. Facebook was right to ban you again. That's the median comment. But this is Luke. This has gone and started again, which is just well because my outfit is completely cropped up. The median comment is that people are concerned. The median comment is that people are very, very worried about what's going on. And tomorrow, after tomorrow's show, I can assure you, you're going to be even more worried. I'll tell you what, split spirit, yeah. You got to laugh or cry and all that. Right, see you tomorrow. God bless you lot. Take care and have a lovely evening. And here's to us.
Yes, great.
Bugger plutocracy, all that, yeah.
Chris, great. See you tomorrow. And Olly, superb. I'm following up on the other stuff.
DailyChaos.news. DailyChaos.news. Go and register. Subscribe. I've been doing all sorts of stuff with the site. Various things buggered up. Big shout out to our man Jay Carey, who's been trying to, sort out all my mess. God bless him on the site.
Keep you in check and you keep me in check.
Well, there you go.
And Chris.
I know I keep seeing that.
Jay cried off tonight. He cried off. He couldn't be arsed with us. He knew it was going to be a madhouse. He was fuming, but he said, no, I'm leaving you to it. I'm having a peaceful night.
Who was this? Piers?
No, Jay Carey. No, Piers. No, he definitely couldn't. He definitely didn't want to do it. He's well under the thumb now. Well under the thumb. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. God bless you. See you tomorrow. Ciao.